My name is Darcy, yes. Okay, for number 1 and number 2, you are doing the same exact thing in each of those. You have to list out all of this information. So for number 1, first thing it wants is the vertex. The vertex is either going to be the very highest point or the very lowest point of your parabola. This is your vertex right here. This has a coordinate of 0, -1. So this is a point, 0, -1. This is your vertex. The axis of symmetry, we did this back in chapter 5, so you've done this before. The axis of symmetry is the line that cuts your graph into 2 equal pieces. Then the axis of symmetry is always x equals the x value of your vertex. So in this case, it's going to be x equals 0. The axis of symmetry is always x equals the x value of what your vertex is. That's why we ask you to find the vertex first. Then it wants to know, is your vertex, is this point the maximum point or the minimum point on your graph? Well, if you look here, this looks like a mountain, and a mountain has a very highest point. This vertex right here is the very highest point on your graph, so that's why it's called a maximum. The domain. The domain for every single thing that we've done in this class since September has always remained the same. The domain is always -infinity to +infinity. How far left does it go, comma, how far right does it go? -infinity to +infinity.
It's always going to be that?
Always. Always. Because then we have to talk about range.
Bro, that's just
Range,
Well, I thought you had like add the brackets or whatever.
it's a number. Infinities, you put parentheses. If it's a number, you put the bracket. For range, when you are doing range, it's how low does it go, comma, how high does it go. This graph, we do not know how far down it goes, so that's -infinity, comma, how high does it go? It goes up to -1. Now, because -1 is an actual number, you put a bracket around it.
Why does it have to be a bracket, not a parenthesis?
Just that's how, because you're including the -1. That's what the bracket means. The new thing from this unit, so up to here, except for the minimum maximum, all of this has carried over from previous units. All of it. Like the vertex, axis of symmetry, domain, and range should not be new to you. These 2 things are new. First thing it says is, what is the increasing interval? Increasing intervals have to do with x values. So looking at my x values, when is the graph increasing? Well, it starts increasing at, well, we don't know when it starts increasing, so -infinity. And it stops increasing on the x-axis when I get here. So increasing intervals, again, have to do with x values. So it increases until it gets to 0. Now, am I going to be picky about these brackets and stuff? Absolutely not. So if you put parentheses here, I'm not going to mark you down. Okay? Decreasing. My graph starts decreasing right here at 0 because it's on the x-axis. That's why I put an x next to it. The x value for this point is 0.
Huh? Yeah. I thought that was -1.
The x value for this point is 0. So it starts decreasing at 0, and it continues to decrease forever and ever and ever, so +infinity on the x-axis. Honestly, if there's anywhere you're going to mess up tomorrow, it's going to be these. But you need to be very cautious and remember that it has to do with the x values. You're going to be using +infinity and -infinity, and then you're going to be using the x value of your vertex, because your vertex is where it's going to be changing directions. So that's what it looks like for number 1. Number 2 is basically doing the same exact thing, except for you have a different type of graph. So we're going to, some of these things are going to carry over a little bit. So for number 2, first thing it wants is the vertex. This is your vertex right here. My vertex is at -2, -4. -2, -4. The axis of symmetry is always x equals the x value of your vertex. That should not be new information.
Wait. Can you redo that one?
The axis of symmetry is always x equals the x value of your vertex.
Oh, so whatever's on the X line.
Whatever is in the x of your vertex. Okay, then it wants to know, is your vertex a minimum or a maximum? Well, this is the lowest point, so that is a minimum. Then you need to do the domain and the range. Domain never changes. It's negative infinity to positive infinity. The range, how low does it go? It goes down to -4. How high does it go? We don't know, so it goes up to positive infinity. If you forget the bracket and you just do a parenthesis, I'm not going to mark you down. For the increasing interval, remember, increasing and decreasing intervals have to do with your x values. So your graph starts increasing right here, and the x value right here is -2. So it starts increasing at -2, and it increases to the right, which goes in the positive infinity direction. Decreasing interval, it starts decreasing somewhere off to the left, but we don't know, so that's going to be negative infinity. And it decreases until it gets to here, and the x value there is -2. Okay, so all of this information you need to know for tomorrow.
So where the negative one?
Say that again.
The first part.
Yep.
That dot is -2.
This dot right here has a coordinate of -2, -4. -2 is the x value, -4 is the y value.
So X equals negative.
Okay?
But then you get to those increasing in the integral.
Yep. Yeah. Okay.
So these are gonna be the ones that are written out.
Yes.
And then these are
The rest of it might be multiple choice. There's going to be a lot of multiple choice tomorrow.
You should do like 2 problems of this and then the rest.
Well, we did a whole worksheet on these.
these two.
Mm-hmm. We've done this
The
before.
ones that are not multiple choice, and then the rest.
But we have
Okay.
never done
We 100% have done these before.
the increasing.
We did those on Friday.
Oh, I left. Remember? I left.
We did them on Friday.
I don't even think I was here.
Okay, 3 and 4. This also we did on Friday. Shh. It wants you to order these from widest to narrowest. So, what that means, shh. Widest means that you are going to look at the smallest number, the smallest a value, without considering the signs. Narrowest is going to be the largest a value, and a value is what's out in front of your x squared. And again, when you're looking at widest and narrowest, you are not paying attention to positive or negative signs. So if we take a look at number 3, don't pay attention. The negative, all that means is that it flips it over the x-axis, or that it opens down. So for number 3, this one has an a of 4, an a of 3, and an a of -5.
Well,
So-
you said you didn't do the negatives.
I'm sorry, 4, 3, and 5. Thank you. So looking at a 4, a 3, and a 5, the widest one is going to be the smallest. So this is going to be the smallest. So I'm ordering it. So I have y equals -3x squared. That's going to be the widest. Which one's next?
Why would that be?
-4x squared, because 3 is smaller than 4 and 5.
Place it now.
But I thought that's a smaller number.
It is. So you go smallest number to largest number. And then you do y.
But then you just said the 3 was the widest.
It is the widest. The smallest is the widest.
That's
I know, it's weird. I agree. It's weird. The smallest is the widest because it would increase slower on both sides. I could show you why, but just trust me.
Show us.
ooh.
I don't know how else to explain it besides the smallest without looking at. We did this on Friday as well, so. It's closer to what? But that has nothing to do with it.
So just the smaller the number, the first.
Yep. Okay, for number 4, between a 1/4, a 1/2, and a 3/2, which one is the smallest?
1/2.
1/4.
No, 3.
3-2.
1/4 is the smallest number. A 1/4 is 0.25. 1/2 is 0.5. 3/2 is 1.5. So 0.25 is the smallest. Actually, this one's already in order, isn't it? Yep, there it is. I'm not even going to rewrite it. That already is in order from widest to narrowest. So those are ways. Huh?
Do you think of quarters?
Sure. Okay. All right, so that's one thing that you're going to need to do. Next page. For number 5 and 6, it says identify the value of A. And how does the value of A affect the parent function? So when it asks you how does it affect the parent function, that means does it make it wider or narrower? And we did this on Friday. So for number 5, the A value is 1/2. If you have an A value of 1/2, is that going to make something wider or narrower? Wider, because it's a smaller number. It's the opposite of what your brain kind of wants it to do. For number 6, the A value is 5. Wider or narrower? Narrower. And that's all you had to do for those. Done. The rest of this has to do with the translations, which is what we did on Tuesday and Wednesday. Did we move left, right, up, down, how much, pretty much? So for number 7, you have, so this would be from Tuesday, I guess we could say. It says y equals negative parentheses x plus 3 squared plus 5. So how does this move? How does this translate? Left 3, up 5. It's left 3 because on the inside of the parentheses, it says plus 3, so you move in the opposite direction, which would be left 3. Outside the parentheses, you move that direction up or down, so up 5.
So whatever's in, you move left?
No, it depends on the sign.
It depends on the sign. If this said x minus 3, that would be right.
But if it's out of the parentheses, that's up and down.
Yes. And this one would actually open down because there's a negative sign out in front. That's the other
Addition
thing.
goes up, subtraction goes down.
Outside. Yep. Inside. Addition goes left. Subtraction goes right. Okay? 8 and 9, that's all. 8 and 9, that's all those are asking as well, is how does it translate? How does it move? So for number 8, there's no parentheses, so it says x squared minus 5. How would this one move? Down 5, that's it. How does number 9 move? Right 2, and that's it. Easy peasy, right? All right. Next page. Oh, we got a multiple choice. Number 10. They want you to determine how are these translated and then figure out which graph actually has that. So without even looking at this, how does this move? If I have x plus 3 squared plus 4.
Left 3 up 4.
Left 3 up 4. So once you know that, then you can look down here to see which one has left 3 up 4. B?
Yes, B.
B. Left 3 up 4. B. We move left 3 up 4. Good to go. Any questions there? And number 11, identify the vertex and the axis of symmetry. So this one moves left 2, down 4. So Bryce, if we move left 2, down 4, if you write it out like that, it helps you to write your vertex. Left 2 means that you move negative 2. Down 4 means you move negative 4. That's why if you write it out, it will help you to write your vertex. It also wants the axis of symmetry. So what would the axis of symmetry be? X equals the x value of your vertex, so x equals negative 2. So, sounds like some of you have some